Right. That was sort of late into his first part of his administration.
That's correct. Correct.
Yeah. So part of that you sort of either give him a pass or you'll sort of wait and see. Were you bothered by the fact that every day he would go on TV, national TV, and talk about BP and the oil coming, and then he's writing a book about his experience?
That was also a big giveaway into the makeup of the man. He loved camera time, and that evidenced itself so much during the BP spill. And it just, I could see what he was all about at that point.
Right. So, in terms of, looking back, where you think his real successes were, where would you pinpoint and say, okay, well, he was successful here, and there's no debate. He was successful.
I'm not so sure I can point to any specific instance of that, because, quite frankly, I don't know where he was successful.
Okay, so what about economic development? Obviously, he has, we were reporting every week every day there'd be another plant opening, expansion, these press release coming from his office. His economic development agency would say we're number 1, 3, 5, whatever.
I don't know where he got those figures of those high rankings, because the rankings I was seeing didn't put us anywhere near those figures. And a lot of his ribbon cuttings never came to fruition. A lot of the plants either never opened or opened and shut down very quickly, and even more significant, the ones that did open, none of them provided anywhere near the employment that he announced initially. He would announce 1,000 employees, and they might employ 300. And this was done consistently across the board. None of the plants generated the employment that he touted in his press releases.
Sure. So there has been the argument that he has given away the store to the big business, and
no question about it. No question. He has literally given away the state to business and industry. And sure, business and industry is good, but when you bring in people like Walmart that employ people at minimum wage, are you really accomplishing anything? Are you really helping the economy? And those were enterprise zone, the Walmarts were enterprise zone projects, and enterprise zone projects are supposed to be in areas of high unemployment in order to help alleviate unemployment. And he was giving enterprise zone awards to Walmart for stores in St. Tammany Parish, which is certainly not an area of high unemployment.
So, in terms of those areas where you think that he perhaps was more show than real, you were very, very. You blast him for a lot of different things. His privatization of the hospitals. Just about everything that he did. But of all those things that he did that you were critical, which would you say was probably the biggest bust of all?
He has destroyed our system of medical schools. We have one of the finest medical school systems in the nation, and he has dismantled it. And the charity hospital system has just been destroyed by him. You look at, he gave away the North Louisiana hospital, Shreveport and Monroe. He gave those away to a company run by a man who was a member of the LSU Board of Supervisors, who was allowed to vote on the deal. Right. And that's a direct conflict of interest. And not only that, he gave away those hospitals through a contract that had 50 blank pages. That There's no business in the world that's going to sign off on a contract with 50 blank pages. It's not going to happen. Yet we did it. Christian Nichols says we'll fill in the blanks later. That's just not done.
And now, that's the hospital, am I correct, that may be closed?
Yes, that's correct. And there again, that's evidence of what he did too fast, with no real study, no real consideration. He was advised against it by Dr. Fred Cerise, and of course he was summarily fired.
Sure. Yeah.
And Dr. Roxanne Townsend also sided with Dr. Cerise, and likewise she wasn't fired, but she was demoted, and she wound up leaving the state. And this is what this is the mentality you dealt with. You're either with me or you're gone. There was no room for dissension, and that's unhealthy.
But, one of the things that really kind of struck me early on was, his bringing in people who had no experience in government, from Timmy Teeple to, just about everybody, his communication staff. They were political hacks.
Absolutely, and they were young and as you said, inexperienced, and that didn't seem to matter. And they rolled over anyone who stood in their way. And their often repeated mantra was, well, if they don't like it, let them sue us. And that's not the way you do things.